A couple weeks ago, I finally tried my hand at Street Fighter 6. This was a bit strange for me, as historically I have very little interest in Street Fighter games. And in fact, I'm not terribly big on many fighting games at all, as I really only play two. One is Gundam Extreme vs. Maxi Boost On, an arena fighter that I'm honestly barely competent at, and Guilty Gear Strive, a game that I did stream every Sunday, but despite the hours I've managed to rack up, I'd still barely call myself good, as I've never even passed floor 10. All this to say I'm basically still a fighting game casual, and I love it. But I should note I have briefly dabbled in Street Fighter before with Street Fighter 4, which I played for about 10 minutes before getting frustrated I couldn't do a dash input, a fate that also happened to me when I attempted BlazBlue Continuum Shift Extend probably a decade ago. But something about Street Fighter 6's style and aesthetic, combined with being ever so slightly more proficient at fighting games than I was 10 years ago, prompted me to give it another shot, and I'm very, very glad I did. What I want to chronicle with this video, and hopefully a couple future ones, is my journey through Street Fighter 6, my learning process, my struggles, and my triumphs as I progress through the ranks. The first thing I did upon booting up the game was hop into World Tour mode. I made myself an avatar that looked pretty good in the creator, loaded into the world, and found it was actually a terrible, horrible abomination. I then got really confused by modern controls. While the idea of simpler special inputs was appealing, my experience from Strive was enough to make me too unused to the concept, and the idea of losing normals sounded awful to me, so I decided I'd just stick with Classic as soon as I got the opportunity to switch. After a few basic tutorials from my new favorite hot boy Luke, I decided I wasn't really vibing with the whole World Tour mode. I came here to fight, and the idea of unlocking moves and talking to folks for extended lengths of time, I don't know, just didn't feel like my cup of tea. So next up, I hopped over to the fighting grounds and popped into the tutorials, which were, for me, just a little bit too basic, with the first set of tutorials being things I mostly already knew from Strive. So I decided I wouldn't really bother with the next set of tutorials. This was probably the biggest mistake I made on all of my first day playing Street Fighter, as I missed tutorials for a ton of major systems, namely Drive Rush. I highly suggest all new players do try at least all of the tutorials in this section. You don't have to complete them, as a lot of them are going to be really, really hard for new players, especially some of the really tough ones like Super Art Cancels, but just get an idea of all the stuff that's out there is probably going to do wonders for learning the game. So with minimal Street Fighter knowledge and a huge plate of hubris, I decided to hop into actual matches. I played some unranked ones for a while. I should mention at this point that I much prefer playing and learning from actual matches instead of sitting in training mode. In Strive, I'd really only use training mode to practice a combo or two, or see if something will Gatling or punish, but largely I enjoy the ancient art of trying things out in the moment. Did I block something that looks like I have frame advantage? I'm gonna try to hit a button. If it works, that's great. If it doesn't, well, I learned not to press a button there. I find it much more fun, and in my opinion, much more exciting stream content to see people learn in the action. So, with my plan to learn on the fly ready to go, I proceeded to get utterly trounced in the unranked mode. L after L after L.
Ken wins! DJ wins!
Street Fighter's so fucking hard, chat room. Turns out, Street Fighter is so goddamn different from Strive that I was basically starting from square one. My Gatlings aren't here, I can't air dash, and the super motions are all the really tough ones that I had trouble with in Strive. I'm officially a lost lamb, and I jumped headfirst into the slaughter. Humbled ever so slightly, I decided to pop into the combo trainer to try and learn what the fuck to do on the off chance I actually get to do an attack. I want to briefly mention my character choice. I chose Cammy largely because both of her outfits are god tier and her moves look super cool, which as far as I'm concerned is really all you need to main a character. If I was to get a little more in depth, then there was definitely something about her that drew my eye. Couldn't tell you what that was though. It was at this point that I realized that even simple combos were going to require a level of execution I was not used to. My muscle memory of comboing Clats and Strive was not helping me at all, and trying to do something super simple like linking normals was entirely its own endeavor. Oh, it comes out so much. You're right, I was doing it way too slow. Holy, I was doing that way too slow. I also found out that I'd really need to tighten up all of my inputs. Things like Dragon Punch inputs are basically necessary to be able to execute quickly and proficiently, which is something that While it was nice to have in Strive, I could get away with not needing to practice it a whole lot. In the combo trial mode, I think I made it to barely the 4th or 5th combo before deciding I was struggling enough for it to be uninteresting and honestly embarrassing to do on stream, and that I just returned to it off stream. So with that, I spent the next nearly 7 hours playing ranked mode, and honestly, I loved every second of it. Stemming from the age-old Monster Hunter adage of hit the monster and don't get hit, my brain also divided fighting game matches into 2 states. Hitting, which involves doing a cool combo that does damage, and getting in position to hit, which encompasses everything else. Neutral, blocking, conditioning, all of it. So for this first attempt at the game, I decided to completely sideline the hitting section, as I figured I can always learn combos and confirms later, and decided to instead focus on the more complex and unfamiliar parts of Street Fighter, like how the neutral plays out. So with knowledge of exactly one single target combo and the prospect of playing people near my skill level, I began to actually learn Street Fighter. My placement matches were honestly a mess. I managed to squeak out a few wins, but the majority of my matches went like this. Hey, hold on. Hold on a minute. What the fuck? A lot of these matches were spent with me just trying out new things, seeing where drive impacts even can work, throwing after enemy block strings, and seeing what moves are good to do from jump-ins, just to kind of see what stuck and what didn't. Uh-oh. My ass dead as hell. I love Ken. How'd I lose? I hit the win at low rank button. And I started to learn where some of the larger mechanics like drive impacts can be utilized. As a Kai player from Guilty Gear Strive, the throw came to me incredibly quickly, as it's the most familiar, and it's probably what I utilized the most in these early matches. And fast jabs at low health came quick to me too, and I almost immediately became a master of the dick punch technique. Dick punch! At the end of my placement matches though, I ended up in Rookie, to absolutely no surprise. As I continued throwing myself into matches, things slowly but surely started to come together. I started to punish whiffs with my sweep and even use hooligan on knockdowns, even doing cross-ups, mostly on accident, but hey, whatever works. Oh, that was nasty. It seemed like my biggest key was just making sure to block and then keeping up the pressure. My lack of damage when I got a chance to attack became less of an issue when I win 15 interactions in a match. And with how consistent drive impact works at low levels, I found my new favorite move, drive impact into raw level 3 super. Sure, these techniques won't work well at high levels, but it serves as decent fundamentals, and more importantly, it was a ton of fun. And before I knew it, I had snagged a win streak straight into iron. Shit feels stupid. Tech command grabs, the dream. My travel through Iron was very similar. As I started to understand better when I can punish my opponents and more ways to approach them, I found myself on another win streak and got myself to bronze. And we're out of there. And we're safe. Wait, I'm obsessed with Cammy. I'm obsessed with Cammy. This game's too much fun, chat room. And once I got to bronze, I hit a bit of a wall. Folks in bronze were much better, with most of them being able to punish the one target combo I knew, which if I had to guess the frame data on it, it's probably minus 100 billion. Most of them also had much better anti-air ability to stop my jump-ins, and they knew how to tech my meaty throws, which meant I really needed to up my game, and most importantly, play a lot more patient and watch and learn my opponents. Trying to figure out what my opponents were doing and what they wanted to do is really some of the most fun in fighting games, and it's incredibly engaging in Street Fighter. This stuff right here is what got me fully hooked into the game. Let's go. Oh man, that's the slowest and smartest I've ever played in my whole life. Holy shit, what a battle. It was at this point that I came into a problem that I think you run into quite a bit as a streamer. The fact that people want to help is no surprise, and in fact it's really welcome. And as someone new to the fighting games, the fighting game community has been incredibly nice and helpful, especially in Guilty Gear Strive. But something about having first-time Street Fighter player in the stream title made a lot of people want to offer just all kinds of advice, much of which was often just well above my skill level. None of the advice I was given was bad, but it just made me feel slightly incompetent that I wasn't able to utilize this advice at all. For example, I can't really worry about using Drive Rush to keep my pressure up if I can't even do a dash input. The point I want to make with all of this really is, if you're a beginner, you're going to be looking up and finding and hearing a lot of info on ways to improve, and it's important to take it in steps. Work on the things you can, and the harder stuff will come naturally with time, and just make sure to celebrate the improvements you are making along the way. The next 4 hours or so were spent throwing myself into matches to see where I needed to improve the most, and what I came up with was that I can't afford to try to win 15 interactions around. I really do need better damage. I need to learn how to poke or do block strings. The only buttons I ever used were specials and the heavy punch, heavy kick target combo, which as mentioned is minus 100 billion, and I get punished every time. And the last and probably most critical thing I realized is I absolutely need to get my fundamentals down. I can barely super input, DP input is non-existent, and I can barely cancel. This I would just need to practice in training mode as much as I hate it. As we approached 8.5 hours of streaming, fatigue also began to set in, and these input issues were exacerbated, and I ended the stream on an egregious loss streak, but with a motivated mind to improve before the next week's stream. Off stream, I spent a fair amount of time in the training mode and learned quite a few things. First, I learned that cancels need to come out super fast before the recovery frames start. There's no late cancels in this game. I labbed basic cancels like light punch into spiral arrow over and over till the timing started to make sense. Next, I needed much better poke moves. I looked up a few Kami guides on YouTube and realized that 90% of what was being said was well over my head at the moment, but the sections on good normals was really vital. I learned Kami actually has some really great special cancelable pokes, like crouching medium kick or standing heavy punch, that I could use for combos, and I learned that if I cancel my target combo during the first hit of the kick with like an EX dive kick, I can get a heavy spiral arrow off after if it hits. While it's not a ton of damage, canceling with a regular dive kick is also much better on block, and it gives me use for my meter if I do get a hit and use the EX version, which currently I was barely using my meter at all. I also practiced Dragon Punch and Super Input and got a bit more consistent, but far from 100%. I also revisited the tutorials that I skipped during the first day, and I'm really glad that I did them. I finally learned about things like Drive Rush, but I did get stuck on canceling into Super Arts tutorial. No matter how hard I tried, I could not get the super input to come out in time for the cancel. I figured it'd just be something I'd come back to later. Things like Drive Rushing mid-combo or these Super Art cancels still evaded me at the moment, but I figured with my new knowledge I could jump back in next Sunday. So jump back in I did, and at first I had extremely minimal success. I had more tools and a better idea of what I wanted to do, but I wasn't actually great at using them, and a lot of times I thought it'd just be easier if I went back to the way I was playing the week before. But I stuck with it, ignored the combos I dropped or the mistakes I made, and eventually I had enough tools that most of the matches were spent trying to read, counter, or outthink my opponent, and it was honestly exhilarating. I even found a new favorite move, the air throw. Snake My favorite thing about day 2 was easily my new love for mirror matches. As a new player, there are a lot of things I'm doing inefficiently or wrong, but it's not always immediately obvious what those things are. But when you play a mirror match, you get to see immediately what other players are doing and how it feels to be on the receiving end of that, and you can add it directly to your repertoire. My favorite mirror match was against this Cami DTV323. This Cami taught me more in one set than hours in training mode could have. I was immediately shown just how much pressure Cami could bring to the offense and how much I was wasting. Cancels into cannon strike mid-target combo to go for other options, and hooligans after jabs for mix-ups that you just have to react to, and honestly using more jabs in general. It was all flowing into my brain for future use. Alright, I'm learning new things to add to my repertoire. And also, slowly I began to learn how to beat it. Is a grab coming out after cannon strike? Jab it or tech it. I should just expect the throw. Can I actually jab out of that? Does that work that way? Oh, I can, okay. 2 jabs into hooligan, stuff it. My strategy of just trying things out in the moment paid off dividends now that I understood the game so much better. Slowly but surely, I began to learn my opponent, but they learned me as well, and the second match ended in probably the craziest way I ever could have imagined.
Fight!
Whoa. Wait, we cooked?
Easy job.
Hold on a minute. Oh, nice cross up. Oh, wait, that hooligan. Wait, the hooligan. It's too hard. Wait, I got cooked. I got cooked. Hey, I got slaughtered. It's only fair. Wait, I need to start throwing those hooligan overheads mid-block string. I think that's okay. It's only fair. The perfect for perfect.
Cami wins!
Perfecting each other seemed to stir up a fire, and the next match was an absolute slugfest. However, in the end, I took the loss. The other Cami just had too explosive of an offense that I couldn't escape from. Little did I know, just a mere half hour later, when faced with a rank up opportunity, I'd meet my rival once again. I don't think I've played this person before. I think this was the one where we double perfected each other? Oh, that's right. This is the hooligan combos one. Almost immediately, I recognized them from their offense, and with it, we began my final boss fight to get into silver. Their unrelenting offense took the first round while I had to readapt to it, and I was on the back foot from the start. But I realigned myself quickly and played much more patient, waiting for my punish opportunities and snagged the second round, getting them to spend their super meter as well. Does that catch me? The third round though, I got utterly embarrassed, getting hit by drive impacts left and right, but I did notice something I could absolutely use to my advantage. Wait, it's every time I need to back, I'm dead. Match 2 started and I decided to put my plan into effect. After teching the throw after the cannon spike, I would very consistently jump in and get drive impacted in match 1. I saw 2 routes here. Stop jumping in, or use it to my advantage. By just empty jumping, I could DI myself and get a huge punish. No, I saw it coming that time. That worked like a charm, but then the hooligan overheads came out and I just wasn't fast enough to stuff it. I needed something to beat that as well, but my time was limited. I was at a huge life disadvantage on set point. One nice punish and a meaty throw gets me right back into the game, but their offense puts me in burnout and I'm right back on the back foot. With each of us one simple combo from death, they pull out the hooligan overheads and I realize I just gotta try something. And then it hits me that the overhead isn't safe on block. Wait, that was clean. Oh, hooligan overhead's not safe. I can punch there. Okay. Even with all this counterplay, it's still a tense final round, and I've got to pull out some desperation to try for the win. Oh, wait, I got owned. I don't know what to do, chat room. Oh my god. Wait a second.
Cammy wins.
We did it! That was way too fucking close. It's only 1-1? And with that, we're in the final match, which I'm just gonna let play out in its entirety. I fucked. Let's counter, interesting. Whoa! Wait, that crosses up? Whew, yeah, if I can bait out that DI every single time it works. But the downside is I can get DP'd. Yeah, we are having a war. This is insane. Oh, I fucked up my meeting. Whew, shot for 3K, thank you so much for the follow.
Locked on. Continue with it.
Cammy wins.
GG's. That was so much fun. That was, oh my god. I actually have to take a break after that. That was like, Blacksmith, thank you so much for the follow. It was the most intense mind games, like trying to just like, because I gotta be honest, that Cammy player, way better than me at like pressure and aggression. But I was like, if on defense I do these things come out 95% of the time. This match was some of the most fun I've ever had in a video game. I'm sure to a lot of you it looked incredibly low ranked and there were misplays all over the place, but on my Street Fighter journey, it really felt like I had accomplished something, defeating an opponent that had me beat previously by countering their strategies or conditioning certain options. It's unbelievably fun regardless of what rank you may be at. And sure, I didn't technically rank up to silver that match, but I did get it the very next one, so I'd say that it still counts. And now I'm absolutely enamored with the game, and I'm gonna keep playing and getting better. Since this stream where I got silver, I've practiced even more off stream and even managed to get that super art cancel training mission down. Turns out you can use quarter circle input from the first special as the first half of your super input. Makes it leagues easier. And now I even have a much bigger damage combo. Check this out.
Man, this looks dire. But beyond. Thanks to the tier 1. Alright, Zangief's got a parry here. Oh, never mind, he's just better. He just jumped and hit boop. Oh, no confirm.
So with that, I'll see you in the next video when I make it up to gold. Or if you want to watch it live, watch me try to attempt it, I am streaming Street Fighter 6 every Sunday for the foreseeable future.